Ball swung in field again, breaks through the hands, he goes. Here goes Thackeray, show and go from Thackeray. Thackeray through a gap. There's Talapapa. Talapapa's got support inside. Rovers are they over? Yes, they are! What a dream start!
John, you said it was important to start well and get the first try, and you did that, but that was probably the highlight of the afternoon. It went downhill rapidly after that.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the fact that we wanted to start well, we said it was important that we put pressure on the opposition, but starting well is not just about scoring an early try. Sometimes it's about building pressure and about completing your sets, and our first 6 sets we completed 2 out of 6 and didn't apply any pressure at all on the opposition. And that gave them energy. I thought today they were really good. I thought they were big, I thought they were strong, I thought they were aggressive when they had the ball and were just far too much for us to handle at times. But I got a team here that's lacking 7 starting members. You know, I ain't got the 7 blokes that played against Bradford and against Halifax and Batley. We've got a patched up team that is, you know, not a reflection of some of the things that we've done this year. We've got some key people missing, some people that are crucial to what we do, and certainly we're feeling that at the minute.
You scored 3 tries, and you played, when you held on to the ball, you played some quite nice stuff, but it's just, let's say, the errors and being consistent.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the errors do hurt you. I think that the fact that, you know, we've got an opposition who's kicked really well today, and I thought we're very strong and looked physically far dominant, particularly in the ruck area. I thought we had a lot of problems controlling their bigger men, and eventually with the completion rate around 50%, it gets you eventually. And even though we put some good passages of football on and played some decent stuff at times, we're not sustaining it for long enough, and that's down to, you know, the injuries that we have and the part-time footballer against the full-time player as well.
How disillusioning is that, John, for your players though? Because there's 62 in the last 2 weeks and 70 here today. Is that demoralising rather than motivating?
I think the fact that, you know, we, as a group of coaches, we get an opportunity to see our players playing at another level, and the club has ambitions to keep progressing and improving, and we get an opportunity to see players coming up against some full-time players who have been there and done that in Super League, and I think the experience for those players is absolutely invaluable. It's difficult, and it's you know, it's not tangible. You can't quite see the improvement that the players, I'm sure, will get from this, but there are lessons to be learned from it. I think the fact that we've played, you know, 3 teams that have played extremely well against us. I thought Leeds were great, and Huddersfield, we put together passages of play in there that we thought were pretty good, and the same today with Salford. I think that the fact that we've conceded so many against the full-time teams is probably a reflection of the gulf in the class between some three really good full-time teams and a part-time team that's got a busted roster at the minute. But as regards to being disheartened, I wouldn't say that at all. I'd say that, you know, we're a little bit disappointed that we're not playing as well as what we can do, and nor are we able to play the team that's got us into this mid-eights.
What do you take out of afternoons like this then, John? Is there an element of long-termism needing to be applied, and, you know, the experience you're going to get in the long run?
I think, you know, on reflection, you look at the team and you look at the experience that young players like Sam Day, Luke Cooper, Brad Tagg, it's invaluable for them in their development. We've got 2 pivots in Briggs and Thackeray who are getting to test their nous and their intelligence against really good defensive teams. We've got opportunities to see how the staff handle things as well, and how they work when they're put under a different type of pressure, when they're coming up against a team and a club that have been there and done that next level. I think that the ruck speeds are a little bit different to Championship. I think the way that's refereed is something that, you know, we need to evolve and to learn from, and, you know, coming to the stadium today, and playing at Huddersfield are all invaluable experiences for our players. This is not just about the 2 points and about whether we've won, lost or drawn. This is about developing the players and giving them an opportunity to play against some really good players and see whether they can come and go to that next level. And fortunately I've seen some players that look comfortable when they do play against full-time teams, and I've seen others that, you know, find a little bit more about them as well. So it's not all doom and gloom, there's lots of positives in there. I think the positives then need to be addressed and then need to be built upon and then reacted and addressed, and the negatives as well are some of the things that we're not quite handling as good as what we should. Then we need to address that as well, and clearly conceding too many points may well be an issue, but this is the best defensive team in Championship with an average of 18. So, you know, average conceding 18. So to go to that next level, we need to improve defensively. Physically, we need to improve, and I think squad-wise and numbers-wise, at the back end of a really tough season for us, the timing's not been great with regards to losing key players. But from this, we can build on it. We can taste now and see and feel that to get to that next level, if we're going to be here again next year, then we need to be fit and healthy and ready to adapt and ready to go again.
Is that how we assess this campaign for you? If you can get back next year and be better next year?
I think that there's lots of effects. It affects my recruitment. It reflects on some of the players and their performances and whether they can handle it at this next level. It's been really eye-opening, some of the things that we've seen with regards to some younger players who look comfortable at this next level. But it's also about, you know, the expectancy of where we need to get. We now know that this is not quite Championship football, and we now need to look at how we practice and how we get ready and how we get our teams ready, because clearly there's a gulf between my club and a part-time club at that, and the full-time teams that we've come up against. We watched yesterday Leeds, didn't we, who were absolutely outstanding, and for 40 minutes put Huddersfield to the cleaners. Well, we've played Leeds 3 times and there's been 4 points, there's a bit of difference, there's been 6 points difference, and going into the last 2 or 3 minutes against them this time around in playoffs, there's been 6 points. So we know that we can deal with Championship clubs and real good Championship clubs like Leigh. We know that, but we need to see and need to think about how we're going to get to that next level and how we're going to improve and how we can handle situations when things aren't quite going our way.
And do you feel that this format is the best way forward for clubs like yours, or would you rather it was one up, one down?
Speaking from a personal point of view and taking the club to one side, I've loved every minute of it. Absolutely loved every minute of it. And as you know, I've been in Super League for about 5 or 6 years as a head coach, and spent a long time working in that environment. And it's been an absolute pleasure to come back and to coach some young blokes and some part-time players at that next level. I think it's inspirational for young players as well, who are pushing hard to improve and to trying to develop and pitting themselves against some full-time players who maybe they've only ever seen on TV. I think that the development there can't be underestimated, and as a group we'll review and we'll reflect at the end of the year, and as a club we'll have a look at where we went wrong and where we were good and what we were good and how we did things, and try and get ready for the Championship next year. So this is very much a learning process. It's very much an opportunity for us to have a taste at that next level, but then use that in the off season and take it into Championship, and hopefully some of the things that we've seen and we've experienced will improve us and make us a better team than what we were last year.